Kana is a university student desperately looking for a new job, and by a twist of fate, she stumbles upon a magical universe. Slowly, she discovers her magical powers and finds a way to make a living from them. In the city, a couple of motorcycles are being chased by a big and strange monster. Riding the motorcycles is a magical police officer who is happy about the situation. As the bigger the monster, the more she gets paid. The motorcyclists tell her they can't go any faster and ask her to get rid of the monster right away. She asks them not to worry and explains that the monster ate her broom, but her company will send them an apology for the inconvenience. They don't care and just ask her to eliminate it. The police officer points her wand and charges a close-range magical attack. She fires a powerful spell, jumps on the monster, and uses a strange device to compress and capture it. As she does, a magical barrier covering the area dissipates. The mission is complete. Magical girls are the envy of everyone. They are cute, refined, powerful, and they get paid very well. It's an admirable profession. Their job is to deal with paranormal phenomena. They eradicate creatures called Kai, whose appearances have increased in recent years. As a result, there are over 500 magical girl companies. At the company, an employee scolds the girl named Kabushikigaisha and asks her to stop using motorcycles. She explains that she did it because the monster ate her broom. He reminds her that they cannot involve civilians, and the sweets they send as apologies aren't free. Annoyed, Kabushikigaisha says their magical devices are terrible and blames the programmers. He admits they are overwhelmed with work and informs her that the director has decided to hire a new girl. He says the director saw her last mission and regretted how much work she gets because he is a kind person who cares deeply about his magical girls. He asks what kind of girl she would like them to hire. She replies that someone firm who wouldn't mind working in a small company like theirs. Elsewhere in the city, a girl named Kana attends a job interview. The interviewers ask her to sit down and inquire about her strengths. She responds that she is hardworking and good at planning. They remind her that this is an entertainment company and ask what she could bring to the company. Kana thinks for a moment and responds that she is aware of their plans to open an amusement park in India, which she considers a bad idea due to low profits and the religious sensitivities of the region. She promises to investigate it and develop a plan to make it successful. Indifferent, they ask what she can generally do for the company. She doesn't know what to say, and the interview ends. Disheartened, she leaves the building, crosses the company name off her notebook, and remarks that it was her 15th failed interview. She trips and falls, picking up her things while lamenting how much she had studied for that last interview. Back at the company, one of the interviewers mocks her for making up the amusement park story, but another points out that it's something that had been discussed very recently. The director mentioned it in an interview in India, and they assume Kana translated it from Hindi to understand it. Everyone is surprised and thinks that she became maniacally obsessed to do that. Kana enters a cafe to grab a bite before her next interview. There, she sees a manager scolding the cashier for forgetting the orders. Kana intervenes and tells them the exact orders and which customers they belong to. The customers confirm that she's right and, as a thank you, gift her a drink and a cookie. She thinks about how much she loves helping people but doesn't know how to show that to companies. She prepares for her next interview, rethinking her strategy. At a finance company, 2 employees walk through the hallways, complaining about how cold it is on that floor. They assume the rooms are poorly conditioned. The senior employee mentions that it might be due to the Kai inspections they're supposed to do yearly, and they skip them in the least used rooms to save money. They enter the meeting room where the interviews will take place. The younger employee warns that it's dangerous because they could be attacked by a monster. The other reassures him and notes how cold the room is. They decide to turn up the heat and grab coffee, unaware that something is hiding in the heating duct. Kana arrives for her interview along with other candidates. Everyone is freezing. The senior employee asks her why she wants the job. Kana stands up, thinking she won't get the job because she'll freeze to death. The ceiling cracks, and a monster shaped like an ice ball falls from it. Everyone runs except the employees. The senior employee orders the younger one to call a magical girl company, ensuring it's cheap and discreet. At the office, Kabushikigaisha asks her colleague, Kaidi, if he shouldn't be working outside. He responds that since the director isn't there, he has to stay to take calls. Kaidi is busy building a card pyramid, and Kabushikigaisha offers to fix it with a spell. The phone rings and the finance company employee asks for help. Kaidi assures him that a magical girl will be there immediately. Kabushikigaisha grabs her broom, climbs to the roof, and activates a code C with her identification. Her clothes transform into her magical girl uniform as she thanks her company for all their support. The company is called Magi-Lumière SA. Fully transformed, She checks a holographic map with the location and report of the Kai. She sees that the place is nearby and that the monster is of the frostoid type. She hops on her broom and flies into action. At the finance company, everyone waits while the Kai remains trapped in the room. The candidates wonder what will happen to their interviews and if they should leave. Annoyed, the senior employee tells the other that they'll be in serious trouble if the Kai gets out of control. He reassures him that the magical girl is on her way. Koshigaya arrives, flying at great speed through the hallways. She apologizes for the delay and introduces herself with great enthusiasm. The employee says the theatrics aren't necessary, but she tells him not to be a buzzkill. She asks if they know why it's so cold. They tell her it's because the Kai is of the ice type. Koshigaya enters the room, which is now completely frozen. She's surprised by the Kai's size and angrily asks how long the monster has been there. Trying to dodge the question, they say it doesn't matter and ask her to just get rid of it. She responds that she won't be able to. They told her the Kai had appeared that same day, but to eradicate something so big requires at least 2 magical girls. That's why they do periodic inspections, to prevent things from getting out of control like this. The employees worry about their jobs since they knew they weren't following protocol and let it slide. Koshigaya wants to handle it, but seeing the size of the Kai, she knows it's impossible. She calls Kaide, who tells her it will take half an hour for another company to come help, but by then, it will be too late. Koshigaya says she can bring it down with a big spell, but it will destroy the place. And if she uses small spells, she'll run out of ammo. The employees and candidates want to leave, but she stops them and says she'll need their help. She'll fire bursts, but she needs a volunteer to help reload. The employees say that wasn't part of the deal and ask if they'll get a discount in return. She tells them there's no time to argue over such nonsense since the entire building will freeze soon. Still, the employees want to avoid helping. Kana volunteers. The employee warns her that this isn't part of the interview and won't count in the selection process. Kana withdraws her candidacy, admitting that the job doesn't matter to her that much. The employees are surprised, saying that young people today don't think about their future. Kana asks Koshigaya what she needs to do. She gives her a tablet and tells her to monitor her ammo while she attacks. On the screen, she sees a bar with 300 ammo and is told to press the reload button when it reaches 50. They both enter the room. Koshigaya marks a distance and charges her wand with a magical attack. She fires a burst of small attacks. Kana monitors the screen and sees the ammo dropping. Koshigaya realizes it's more difficult than she thought and will take time. She asks Kana not to neglect the ammo. Kana checks the screen and comments that she's using the wrong ammo type. On the screen, it shows ammo for fast-type Kai, but the one in front of them isn't even moving. She figures it's left over from a previous mission. Koshigaya recalls the Kai from the night before and complains that the equipment is trash and that she'll never use it again. Kana offers to change the ammo and reload. Koshigaya warns her that the program is complicated, but Kana says she knows it well. She's familiar with the software and the company that developed it. She saw the presentation of the basic functions and knows that the ammo can be easily switched. She also attended an interview at the company and admits that her great memory is her only strength. Koshigaya tells her the company will scold her for involving her, but she asks Kana to help with the ammo and promises to protect her with her life. Kana changes the ammo to multiple fixed attacks and reloads 100 shots. Koshigaya asks Kana to give her 10 seconds before switching the ammo again, but Kana warns her that it's very dangerous. Suddenly, the monster breaks through the spells and fires ice shards at them. Koshigaya grabs Kana and dodges the attacks, activating a magical barrier and protecting her just as she promised. The ammo reloads, and Koshigaya fires the new shots until she can see the Kai's core. She pulls out her equipment and compresses the monster. Another mission accomplished. Kana watches in awe, and then she begins to feel faint and starts to collapse. Koshigaya catches her and asks if she's all right. Kana responds that she finally feels useful and that she was able to help someone. Koshigaya admits that Kana saved her and thanks her. Back at the office, Kaede scolds Koshigaya once again for involving civilians in the battle, but Koshigaya responds that Kana wasn't just any civilian. She steps aside, revealing Kana standing behind her. Koshigaya introduces her as the candidate for the new magical girl position. Kaede remarks that Kana is basically a civilian, but Koshigaya brushes off the comment. Kana looks around the office and realizes that it's nothing like the large companies she's been to. The staff interact with each other casually, almost like a family. Kaede tells them they arrived just in time because the director and someone named Nikoyama have just returned. The director enters the room. He's a mature man, dressed in a pink dress. He looks at Kana and asks if she's the candidate for the position. He introduces himself as Shigemoto, the director of Magi-Lumière SA, and warmly welcomes her to the company. Kana ponders a bit about magical girls and their honorable profession, realizing that she got tangled up with one of them during a job interview, which ended up piquing her interest. Without realizing it, she follows her to the office without an appointment, where she meets Shigemoto, the director of the company. Kana is surprised to see the director, as she notices that he is a man in his 40s who cosplays. Shigemoto also congratulates Koshigaya for bringing in the new candidate. Kana, for her part, watches them and thinks that they are all acting very naturally. Likewise, Kaidi introduces herself and formally introduces Koshigaya as well. However, at the back of the room, there is a strange-looking young man named Nikoyama. Shigemoto, in turn, orders him to introduce himself, but Nikoyama ignores her, as he is deeply focused. Seeing the whole situation, Kana feels completely terrified, mentioning that she had gotten carried away after seeing a magical girl in action, while thinking that everyone here is really weird. She definitely feels like it might be a mistake to be there, and maybe it would be better to leave while she still can. At that moment, Katie approaches her to tell her that her first mission would consist of practical training. She then pulls a broom out of a locker, as now Kana would have to test her flying skills. Katie also mentions that the broom is the ultimate magical transportation device, the most complete artifact. Plus, she will be able to download programs and modify it to her liking. Kana begins to change her mind a bit, telling herself that she could try flying first and then give up. But she quickly realizes what is happening and proceeds to ask if, on her first day, they are really going to give her professional tools, emphasizing that she has only just finished her studies. Kaidi calmly replies that they are a new company, so they can't afford long training periods. A rookie has to do the same tasks as an expert, so if she wants, she could become a magical girl today. After hearing this, Kana is a little blank, as a few hours ago no one would accept her. She even thought she wouldn't get into any company. However, now with this job, she feels like the world needs her. She comes back to reality when Kaide hands her a huge stack of broomstick manuals. Seeing this, Koshigaya wonders what all those are for, as he has never read one. He quickly tells Kana that she will be in charge of teaching him how to fly. While practicing outdoors, Koshigaya is surprised by Kana, as he has never seen someone go straight for the trees before. Now, back on the ground, the blonde tries to explain it again, although not very clearly. She tells Kana that she has to get on top first and then boom. And to stabilize, it's like shouting BAM! Extremely simple. Kana tries again, but still fails, so she tells a rather dejected Koshigaya that maybe he should read the manuals. Back at the office, Shigemoto, seeing them, asks why they are there. Koshigaya quickly replies that Kana just wanted to read the broom manuals. However, Shigemoto is surprised to see so many of them on the table. Koshigaya also adds that since Kana wanted more, they went out to buy extras. So, little by little, Kana begins her training as a magical girl. She is just an ordinary girl. She cannot handle those tools intuitively. She does not have the charm to impress in interviews, nor the eloquence to demonstrate her skills. All she knows is to study the old-fashioned way. A few days later, Kaidi enters the office with an important message. There is an extermination scheduled for 4:30 a.m. for Koshigaya and Kana. In other words, an order to exterminate a Kai, but this time it's less terrifying than the last one. Still, it might be too soon for a rookie like Kana. However, it was the boss who assigned the two of them the task, so they have to go together. But Kana isn't too sure about going, as she doesn't even know how to ride a broom properly, so she feels like she would just be a burden. Koshigaya tries to cheer Kana up by telling her that the broom isn't a big deal, but then Shigemoto tells her that he saw the recording from the other day, when they fought that other Kai. He mentions that it was the first time they used that magic device to fight the Kai. Still, Kana instantly understood. While many people may know the basic functions, not everyone knows how to apply that knowledge in an actual mission. However, she was able to observe, report, make suggestions, and respond to the emergency calmly. She had done something that an ordinary person wouldn't have been able to do. She may not realize it, but she really does have an extraordinary talent. After saying all that, Shigemoto is understanding. He won't force her to go if she doesn't feel ready. However, now filled with courage, Kana decides to accept. Shigemoto quickly orders them to prepare her transformation, and also calls Nikoyama to design Kana's outfit, which had to be adorable. It turns out that this guy was the magic engineer, responsible for brooms, outfits, and long-distance communications. Nikoyama, holding Kana by the shoulders, tells her that he's been waiting a long time for a new magical girl to arrive so he can test out new transformation effects. After observing her for a moment, he was able to take all of her measurements, as well as determine the ideal colors and designs for Kana, so he quickly gets to work. Kana tells Koshigaya that just a couple of days ago, she was just a normal student. But now, being here, she feels like they need her, and they're even doing all of this for her. So she thanks him, saying that she doesn't feel like she deserves it. However, it's Koshigaya who ends up thanking her, as they're the ones who don't deserve her. Kana saw everything they do, and yet she helped out and decided to join the team. For a small company, it's the biggest compliment. Everything is ready. Nikoyama hands her his ID card, which will also allow her to transform by just saying, "Activate Code C." Filled with determination, Kana proceeds to perform her transformation. Once transformed, Kana is shocked, but this touches everyone else as the first time is always exciting. Koshigaya tells her that she looks beautiful, and now, with everything ready, it's time to go. They both prepare to leave, and after Koshigaya's signal, they take off as Shigemoto, Nikoyama, and Midorikawa watch excitedly. The two girls seem to be doing fine, especially Kana, but quickly, we see that she's extremely focused until she catches her reflection in the windows of a building, realizing that she was indeed doing it. After some brief instructions from Nikoyama, the girls arrive at the location. Immediately, Koshigaya asks Nico to scan the area for civilians. After doing so, they discover that someone is trapped inside. The blonde quickly springs into action, using a spell to break one of the windows. However, at that moment, the Kai counterattacks, but she skillfully dodges all of the attacks and quickly rescues the man. Now, it's time to finish off the Kai. Koshigaya continues his assault with powerful spells, but Kana notices something, a crack in the blonde's broom. She quickly informs Nico, who confirms that she is indeed losing magic. Everyone realizes that the old broom won't last much longer, so they order her to stop. However, Koshigaya refuses to back down, as she's the only one who can handle it. Furthermore, she promised to protect Kana. Seeing the situation, Kana realizes that she could help, remembering something she read in a book. However, she begins to doubt herself, afraid of ruining everything, unsure whether to step in or stay back and learn by watching. But after remembering Shigemoto's words, she realizes she is useful and quickly springs into action, now determined to fire the magic shot. Nico doesn't know what she's planning, thinking she can't do it. Kana explains to her what she read in the manual. Brooms aren't just for flying, they can also shoot. By switching modes, she can make the broom fire a single shot. Nico immediately warns that it's too dangerous for a rookie, but Kana replies that Koshigaya is in even greater danger. At that point, Shigemoto authorizes her to do so, saying that if they don't trust the people they hire, then they can't be considered a good company. Kana proceeds to act. Remembering the instructions, she activates the V code, then executes the F formula and switches to A mode. Nico quickly explains the situation to Koshigaya. After Kana's attack, she'll need to compress the Kai. Though Koshigaya is initially unsure whether to trust her, she eventually does thanks to Shigemoto's words. Kana then fires a powerful shot, hitting the target directly. Immediately, Koshigaya charges in to finish things off, successfully compressing the Kai. The boss, touched, mentions that Kana fired a magic shot without any practice, saying that it's perfect for a small company. Kaide, seeing her boss cry, also bursts into tears, saying that when the boss cries, he cries too. Upon returning, Kana can't believe that she just performed magic with her own hands and can't stop trembling. She asks the blonde if they're not being expected and if they should hurry. The blonde replies that yes, in fact, they should be scolding the boss right about now. And it's true, they're currently filing a formal report against him. The boss apologizes for having violated magical conventions. However, he reasserts his authority as the boss, breaking the magical rules anyway. After hanging up the phone, our magical girls arrive. Nervous, Kana asks her boss if they were really scolding him and if it was all because of her. She also noticed that he just hung up the phone. The boss reassures her, telling her not to worry, because the call wasn't from anyone important. Even so, he takes full responsibility for what happened and sincerely tells her that he trusts her and that they are happy to have her on the team. Then, he starts crying, admitting that his second magical girl moves him deeply. He thinks that for such a small company, they have an incredible amount of talent. If you've reached this point in the video, don't forget to leave the word exquisito in the comments. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.